This hour has been so much fun as we welcome Justin in. In a situation like this, it can be one of two things. Either easy to get former teammates and those that brushed alongside you, and it can be very difficult. In your case, more than enough for a single hour. We could do hours, a mini-series on this. Let me ask you about that, because in hockey, you can fool the fans, you can fool the media. But your teammates, you were beloved when you were an active player. Now that you're retired, what does it mean to you that there's so much love for you?
I'm a little uncomfortable, to be honest. But if I touch them in a way that they look back on me positively, then I'm just being me, and that's who I've always been, and that's who I've always tried to be. And whether or not what you believe in, you just try and be a good person. And I've met a lot of great players and a lot of great friends along the way, and hopefully I'll stay in contact with a bunch of them. I know it's hard, but we have great memories with a lot of guys, and I cherish my time that I've had with everybody.
You answered that just the way I think we would expect, very
Yes.
humbly. And we've asked you always about Mr. Game 7, and you kind of just drop your head, and you don't really want to hear that. You don't maybe like that per se. But I want to know from your teammates, did the guys give it to you? Because they probably knew you didn't like it. Did guys inside the locker room ever razz you in before those games?
I think kind of before it started becoming kind of a thing, nothing really was said. But then as he got further along and we started playing some games further along in the game 7s, the boys were like, well, we're all set, boys. Willie's here. It's no big deal. And, everyone got a chuckle out of it, and it was good. But then I was like, all right, hey, now we really need to buckle down here, guys. I'm not going to keep getting lucky here. So I've been a part of some great teams, and that's really why I've had that much success in those games.
You've said the right thing for 2 straight decades, every single time, 100%. Reminds me of Scott Stevens and the other great captains in this sport that are so unselfish. Your legacy, whether you choose to embrace it or not, is Mr. Game 7. Can you embrace it? Is it any easier now that the career is over?
I think obviously when the career is over, time for reflecting is upon you. And if I'm ever sitting right next to Rupper there, and it comes up right underneath the screen like Mike Rupp did this, maybe you'll say Justin Williams did this, Mr. Game 7, and I won't be so uncomfortable with it. But as I said, it's been a heck of a ride, and I think it was just time for me to finally step away and call it a career.
I kind of just want to get into the mindset of, if we could take it back to when you were playing. And this is just my assumption. I believe there is one point when you're probably sitting in that room before any of these big games, whether it's a regular playoff game. We're not going to get hung up on the Game 7. It's just playoffs. And there's a point in Justin Williams' career where he's looking around the room and taking things in. And then there's a point something changes. And now that focus is coming towards you. And is there a point where where did you look? Where were your eyes going before you learned to be that guy? Who were you watching? And then what did it feel like when you were like, all right, now it's my turn to pass that on?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a great question. Fortunately, I was able to get to that point in my career where I could kind of see the transition between, prospect, everyday NHL player, leader, guy that's being looked to, right? So, fortunately for me, I was a part of obviously some great teams, but some great leaders along the way. I started off in Philly with John LeClaire and Rick Tocchet and Keith Primo and Brian Boucher and Simon Gagne and Eric Desjardins, Mark Recchi. I can go on and on about the leaders that my first 4 or 5 years in the league. I could look back and say, wow, what an opportunity it was to learn from them and watch them play and see them conduct themselves. And then as I move along, I get to Carolina. There's Ron Francis, there's Rod Brindamore, there's Brett Hedican, there's Ray Whitney. There's just an unbelievable amount of guys that I can look to. And as a leader and as a player who's played obviously as long as I have, you take little bits and pieces of everybody that you liked, and you kind of make it your own and just be yourself. And fortunately for me, I was able to come in with a great team there in Philadelphia. But I guess to answer your question, you get to a point where you're like, all right, you look around the room and it's, you know what, I'm one of the older guys. It's my time to rise up. It's my time to go up and say something. It's my time to lead the way. And you got to just own that. You got to step up and say, all right, you can't be bashful about it. You just got to meet it head on and know that guys are looking at you for a little bit of leadership to lead the way.
Canes fans got goosebumps that fateful July 1st when free agency, you chose to go back. One of the members of the team that won the only cup in franchise history in '06. You go back for the final chapter of your career and you say, on this show, we're done losing. Now, awesome thing, Justin Williams always says the right thing. Good for you for being confident. But then look at what unfolds. By sheer force of will, you and Rod Brindamore, familiar names, get that thing going to a degree that you guys end up playing for the right to go to the Cup final against the Boston Bruins. How did that happen?
I mean, I think when I signed in Carolina, a lot of people were, kind of giving the eye roll a little bit, like, oh, what, he wants to win? What's he going there for? And I think the guys in the league realized what kind of team Carolina had. They were always tough to play against, but they just couldn't get over the hump, right? They just couldn't, come crunch time. When the games get a little tougher in March, they just kind of faded a little bit and weren't able to get into the playoffs. And they're always tough to play against. And I said, you know what, maybe I can go there and maybe I can help out a little bit to help this team get over the hump. And it was really ended up kind of being a perfect storm for us. Obviously, with a guy I played with on a line with for years, a couple of years later becoming the head coach, and then us kind of feeding off each other in that way. We kind of have the same goals, the same type of way we want to play, the same type of expectations. And I think for the Carolina Hurricanes, that being a Hurricane just means a lot more to us than the average person. And Roddy and I were able to instill that, and obviously had a great run to the conference finals and lost, but ultimately we've gained relevancy here, and that's what we expect. That's what I expect for this team going forward, and I know it'll be so.
You just mentioned this team moving forward, and again, this is coming from an outsider, so you could tell me if I'm wrong here, but the thing I noticed the most about this Carolina team, and then when you went there and you make that statement, is now all of a sudden this team, who I liked the way they played. I mean, Carolina for a couple of years, I think even before you got there, they weren't winning hockey games as much, but the shot volume and some of the things they're doing, they're a pretty good team, just haven't been able to put it all together. Now they get a chip on their shoulder, a little bit of an edge, like, hey, no, we are winning. We're coming in. We're gonna dictate these games, and I think this is something that's going to go past. You're retiring, and it's something, a legacy that you can leave behind. Was there a certain point where all of a sudden, there was the storm surge? I mean,
Bunch of jerks.
It's silly. As silly as that sounds, as being something it's something to rally around. I mean, how did that play into all this?
Well, I mean, I think always we have to be honest with ourselves, right? We know we're always going to be kind of the little brother, right? We're not a big market. We're in Carolina here. So we have to take that with a grain of salt, right? So we do a little bit more in Carolina and just to become relevant, to become a team to talk about, and not just, kind of what we did there with the storm surge. It's everything that encapsulates us that we're little old Carolina here. We're obviously never going to be talked about all the teams in the Northeast, but we're doing our thing here, and we want people to not come through Carolina and be like, oh, okay, just to stop in Carolina is 2 points and let's get out of here. It's, oh no, we got to go through Carolina, we got to go through the Tampa Bays, we got to go through, those types of teams, and that's where we want to get to, and I think we're on our way.
Raleighwood, Hollywood, Philly, every stop along the way in your career, you made great friendships. You made a great impact on the hockey team, on and off the ice. We couldn't limit the number of people that wanted to speak. Listen to some of your teammates and what they had to say.
Well, I'd like to congratulate my good friend Justin Williams on an unbelievable career. I remember as a 19-year-old, Justin, when you walked into our dressing room in Philadelphia, I knew right then you were going to be an incredible leader. They call you Mr. Game 7 for a reason. Clutch goals, clutch assists, But most of all, what sticks out for me is, even being a coach nowadays, is the leadership you bring in the dressing room. It's invaluable. You're one of the best leaders I've ever known, and I just want to congratulate you on an unbelievable career.
Hey Willie, just want to congratulate you on your retirement. You had a great career. I was lucky enough to play with you for those years, very, very important years, and 2 Stanley Cups. I learned a lot from you. I know we all did. You were a gamer, man. That's what every team wants. Every player wants to be a gamer, wants to show up in those big moments, those big games. You were always that guy for our team. No surprise why you won the Conn Smythe in 2014, and this was one of the special pictures that I still have up in the basement here, drinking out of the cup. So again, congratulations. I miss you, man. Hopefully I'll see you soon. We can play some golf and say hi to the family, and all the best, Willie.
Hey, Stick. Just want to congratulate you on an awesome career. You're one heck of a player and an even better guy. Hopefully with all this time in your retirement, you can sharpen up that golf game, although, I'm not sure that's possible. But, really happy for you and Kelly and the kids. It's an unbelievable career, and to be a part of it, just for a part of the time, has been an honor. And I appreciate every memory that we created, and every shift we had together, and couldn't be happy for you.
Justin, congratulations on a great career. You were one of the very best in the game when the game was on the line. Good luck in the future. I hope you stay in hockey.
It looks like it got real misty where Justin is. Here's yet another piece of admiration. Jim Rutherford, Penguins Executive VP and GM, 20 years with Canes and Whalers, GM. Justin Williams ended up being one of the best trades during my time in Carolina. Justin is a winner. He is a leader. He played a vital role in us winning the Stanley Cup in 2006. I have no doubt that Justin's future will keep him in hockey, because that's where he belongs. Before we get to your future, let's talk about your immediate past. Watching those videos and us watching you, we could see the emotion welling up. What were you feeling?
I'm not great when people talk about me, so I just try and kind of look away, and don't do great with compliments. So all these guys mean exactly the same, right back at them. So obviously seeing guys talk and talk very highly of you, and it just it helps you out in the fact that you're doing something right, and you're being a good person, and all the other hockey stuff is what it is, but mainly it's being good to people, and they were great to me, and we reciprocated, and we have great friendships, and I have a ton of them, and I look forward to the future for myself as well.
So I guess the question is, what's next? We know you're a family guy. You take some time here. Do you have any aspirations and things you're looking forward to doing here?
I'm not quite sure. I think if you ask my wife, I probably have too many hobbies, but I think that's good. I keep my mind occupied. I'm coaching both my son and daughter's hockey teams. I'm trying to sharpen up my golf game. I'm playing a lot of tennis. I'm going to see what I want to do when I grow up, and I think I've got some time to do that right now, and just chill out and see what comes my way. And listen, I'm sure I'll be involved in the game of hockey. That's all I know, and everything I have is because I played hockey. So it's been a great run. As I said, it's just time to call it quits and move on.
A wise man once said, "Talent takes you to the top. Character keeps you there." The one underlying constant throughout all of this, everybody appreciates your character, and we appreciate the opportunity to celebrate your career. Thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys too. I know you guys have said a lot of good things about me over the years as well, so I appreciate the little time here you're keeping for little old me.